Student, I am VN Karnar, PGT Physics from Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, Shegaon. In the previous lecture, we have discussed about the main topic, that is first one, RMS value of alternating current. Then second one, mean or average value of AC over half cycle and over the full cycle, and the relation between these two, Now in this lecture, we will proceed for the alternating voltage applied to a resistor or alternating EMF applied to a resistor. So let us proceed the topic. Today's topic is alternating voltage, or you can say EMF, applied to a resistor. So as you are applying the alternating voltage or EMF to a resistor, let us draw the diagram for this. So diagram will be here the resistor of resistance R, and will apply the alternating voltage or EMF across this resistor R, that is E is equal to E naught sine of omega t. This is the expression for this EMF. So as you have applied this EMF across this resistance R, therefore the relation you have written as E is equal to E naught sine of omega t. Let I be the current. Let I be the current in the circuit at any instant t. Therefore the potential difference across the resistor is equal to IR. So I can write here E is equal to IR, or from this equation I is equal to E upon R. You know that E is equal to E naught sine of omega t. Equation 1, that is nothing but the value of the alternating EMF. So use this value in this equation. So ultimately I is equal to E naught sine of omega t upon R. Or I can write I is equal to E naught upon R sine of omega t. Now dear student, you know about the peak value of current. The peak value of current, that is I naught is equal to E naught upon R. Now I will take the help of this value to use in this equation. So I will use this value in this equation as, put this value in this equation. So I is equal to I naught sine of omega t. This is suppose equation number 2. What do you observe from this equation number 1 and equation number 2? So both the equations are having the sinusoidal function, and there is no phase in between these two. So we can say that the current and EMF both are in phase. Here sine of omega t, here also sine of omega t. So they are in phase. or there is no phase difference between these two. That is the important conclusion we are drawn. So when you apply the AC voltage or EMF across the resistor, then the current and EMF or the voltage both are in phase. Now we'll proceed for the phasor. So for the phasors or phasor diagram, For the phasor diagram, we'll first of all produce the time diagram. So in case of time diagram, I will take here x and y axis. Here along x axis time, and here the value of EMF and you can say the current along this one and along this one. So the respective values of the peak values of this current and voltage, for that one you get the phasor diagram like this. Let us divide this total time period into 4 parts. That is here T by 2, here T by 4, then here T by 2, and 3, it is here T by 2, 3 T by 4, and here you can say T. So time period T I have divided into 4 parts, that is T by 4, T by 2. You can say here this value is T by 2, 2T by 2, 2T by 4 means T by 2, 3T by 4 and T. Now the phasor diagram for this current will be like this. And the phasor diagram for the voltage or EMF will be like. So here this value is nothing but EMF E is equal to E naught sine of omega t, and this value represents I is equal to I naught sine of omega t. So the respective peak value of the EMF and current to both the side here, I can write this is the value of peak value of the EMF and here the peak value of the current. Similarly, peak value of the current and peak value of the voltage or EMF. So this is about your time diagram. Now for the phasor diagram. For phasor diagram, along x-axis and y-axis, both, since you have proved here the current and EMF are in phase, so both are in phase. So this is the value of here E naught, peak value of the EMF, and I naught, both are in same phase, and these are the respective values. Here from this phasor diagram, this is the phasor diagram. And this angle is omega t. See here, sine of omega t you have taken, and here sine of omega t. So this will be the angle omega t. Now see, I naught having the less magnitude or the peak value of the current, and here the peak value of the voltage is more. So from this relation you can say that when you will put the value of the peak value of the EMF and when you will divide it by resistance R, whatever you have the resistor connected of the resistance R externally, so ultimately this I naught will be less than E naught. That means the peak value of the current will be less than the peak value of the EMF, and that's why the phasor diagram will be appear like this one. So in this case of this AC voltage and EMF applied to a resistor, the following steps, or we can say we have gone through the following steps here. The first, we have drawn the circuit diagram in which we have applied the EMF across this external resistor having the resistance R. Then the current with the flowing, I with the current flowing in the circuit at any instant t. Then the potential difference across the resistor by as far as concerned to the Ohm's law, that is E is equal to IR. Then calculating the value of this current and substituting the value of this equation E is equal to E naught sine of omega t, we reached the equation second, that is I is equal to I naught sine of omega t. So here we can say we got the value of the current and voltage. They are in phase because both are the sinusoidal function and both are having the, you can say, sine function sine of omega t here. So E and I both are in same phase. So from the phasor diagram here, this is about the time diagram in which you are represented here the current and voltage and the respective value. This is the peak value of the, you can say this is the peak value of the EMF, and this is the peak value of the current to this side, and this is the peak value of the current and peak value of voltage to the this negative y-axis. So, and in case of this phasor diagram, the both are, since both are in same phase, so we have represented the angle omega t with the x-axis, and this is the value of the I naught, peak value of the current, and peak value of the EMF. And already I told you that I naught is less than E naught from this equation, and which is also shown in the phasor diagram. Now we will proceed for the next point, that is our second topic is an alternating voltage or EMF applied to an inductor. Okay, so we have seen about the inductor also here, and we will draw the circuit diagram for that one. So just like in the previous case where you have used the resistor of resistance R, you have to use here the inductor of inductance L. So this is your circuit diagram now. And across this inductor, we have used the alternating EMF or voltage, that is E is equal to E naught sine of omega t. Okay, and this is the inductor L. Now, what is the difference between these two? When you have used the purely resistive circuit, you can say here the purely inductive circuit, because simply only one component you are using here, the inductor. So in this figure, the inductor L, that is, you can say ideal inductor L, is connected to a alternating EMF, or you can say that alternating EMF is applied to an ideal inductor, of inductance L, as shown in this figure, in this above figure. So that this circuit is called as a purely inductive circuit. This circuit is called as a purely inductive circuit. Since only inductor is connected across this, you can say the EMF, or EMF is applied only across this inductor. Therefore, this is called as a purely inductive circuit. So the alternating EMF applied is given by E is equal to, this relation we have to use frequently. So you always keep it in mind. This is nothing but your applied alternating EMF across this inductor. We have applied the same alternating EMF to the resistor also. So this is your equation 1. Now the induced EMF across the inductor, induced EMF across the inductor. See, induced EMF, which is equal to minus L di by dt. So this value also you have got from the, you can say, that is self-inductance. For this inductor we have calculated. So for that one we have used the relation, that is E is equal to, or E is equal to minus d phi by dt, and the value of phi we have used for the self-inductance, that is Li. So putting this value in this equation, you got E is equal to minus L di by dt. So here the value of the induced EMF across this inductor is given by minus L di by dt, which opposes the growth of current in the circuit. This value, this induced EMF, opposes the growth of the current in the circuit, because according to the Lenz's law, what the Lenz's law states? The Lenz's law states that when the current is passed to that particular inductor here, then this is the value of the current which is going through this inductor. Then here the self-inductance will be in such a way that it will oppose to the growth of the current here. And that's why the induced EMF across the inductor is equal to minus L di by dt. So ultimately I can say, since there is no potential difference or there is no potential drop across the circuit, see here, there is no potential drop across the circuit. So I can write here E is equal to, or E plus minus L di by dt is equal to 0. Why? Because if you apply the, you can see Kirchhoff's law here. So there is no potential drop across this, across the circuit. So ultimately you will get the equation E is equal to, because this is also EMF and this is also induced EMF. So E plus minus L di by dt is equal to 0. Therefore I can write here L di by dt is equal to E, or I can write di by dt is equal to E by L. Now this equation number 1 I will use here. So di by dt is equal to E naught sine of omega t upon L, or I can write di is equal to E naught upon L sine of omega t dt. Now since I want the value of the current here, so simply integrate this equation. So now let us integrate this one. Integration of di is equal to integration of E naught upon L sine of omega t dt. So take out this E naught upon L across the integration. So finally we will get here this equation will takes the new form, that is, you can say I is equal to E naught upon L integration of sine of omega t dt. Now students, you know the integration of sine of omega t dt. So I is equal to E naught upon L minus, what is the integration of sine of omega t dt? That is minus cos of omega t upon omega. That is the value of the integration of sine of omega t. Okay, so here I can write I is equal to, now be careful onwards now, whatever the values I am writing here, E naught upon, that is L omega. I will take this omega here, and minus cos of omega t. Now, since minus cos of omega t, I will use the formula here, that is minus cos of omega t is equal to sine of omega t minus pi by 2. I think this formula you are knowing, so I am using this formula now. So what is this equation will take place? So I can write I is equal to E naught upon L omega. Then here you will get sine of omega t minus pi by 2. Okay, or I can write here this total value E naught upon L omega, that is the peak value of the current. So I is equal to I naught sine of omega t minus pi by 2. Sine of omega t minus pi by 2. See, this is equation number 2, suppose. What was the equation number 1? Equation number 1 was this one. Whatever the EMF you have applied across this inductor. So E is equal to E naught sine of omega t, and here also now for the current you got I is equal to I naught sine of omega t minus pi by 2. So comparing this equation, this 1 and 2, you will get that the current lags behind the, you can say, EMF. Here you see, that means there is a phase difference, sine of omega t and sine of omega t minus pi by 2. So this is the factor, that is pi by 2, which is lagging behind. That means the current lags behind the EMF by an angle of pi by 2. So this is very important conclusion. You get this from this relation. So what I can write? So I can write here the current relation between the current and voltage in case of the leading or lagging, you can say. So I can say here that the current lags behind the EMF by an angle pi by 2. That means you can say the phase difference, in another word, phase difference of pi by 2 exists between current and EMF. So you can have these particular wordings in another ways also. If you are using the current is lags behind the EMF, or you can say that the EMF is leads by pi by 2 than that of the current. So in either way, you can remember that the current I lags behind, because here you can see the minus sign is there. So current I lags behind the EMF by an angle of pi by 2, or the phase difference of pi by 2 exists between current and EMF. So this is very important conclusion we got in case of the AC voltage or EMF applied to an inductor. Now we will proceed for the phasor diagram. So how the phasor diagram you can write? So for phasor diagram, first of all, I will take for the time diagram. So time diagram here. So I need time axis along the time along the x axis, and here along y axis here the EMF and current E and I along this one. Okay. So starting from this one, again you divide the total time period into 4 parts, that is t by 4. 2t by 4 means t by 2. This is 3t by 4, and this one is t. And now we'll represent the here the relation between the peak value of the current and the EMF. So I can draw the EMF like this. This is here E is equal to E naught sine of omega t. And for the current, since you are saying that it is lagging behind, okay, lagging behind by an angle of pi by 2. So I can write here, or I can draw so this is about the current I is equal to I naught sine of omega t minus pi by 2. So current is lagging behind the EMF that I represent in this time diagram, and this value is your peak value of the EMF, and this value is the peak value of the, you can say, the current. Similarly, here also this value and this value, the respective value of the peak value of the current and peak value of the EMF. Again, once again, remember here the peak value of the EMF is greater than that of the peak value of the current. Okay, that's why this is a sinusoidal function of this EMF and the current. The peak value of the current is less, and here the peak value of the EMF is more. Now for the phasor diagram, I think you have got this one. Now I will draw the phasor diagram. Phasor diagram for the, so in case of phasor diagram now, this is along x-axis and this is along y-axis. You have taken, this is the origin. So the current lags behind, therefore I can say current is lagging behind peak value of the current by an angle of pi by 2. So this will be the angle of pi by 2, that is 90 degree. This angle is omega t, okay, and this angle is pi by 2. So this is the value of the EMF, or the peak value of the EMF, and this value. Again, here you can see the peak value of the current is less than that of the peak value of the EMF. So this is your phasor diagram. Phasor diagram in case of the AC voltage or EMF applied to an inductor. Once again, dear student, just to remind or recall all the steps involved in this particular equation, deriving the equation of this alternating voltage of EMF applied across the inductor. So first of all, we have connected the inductor across this EMF, which is called as a purely inductive circuit. So you have applied the EMF E is equal to E naught sine of omega t. Then here the induced EMF across the inductor, you got the relation that is minus L di by dt. Then since in this circuit there is no potential drop across the circuit, therefore we have written the equation that is E plus minus L di by dt is equal to 0. And then from this equation we have substituted the different values, and we got the total current. That total current in the form of the, you can say, I is equal to I naught sine of omega t minus pi by 2. So this relation and this relation says that the current I lags behind the EMF by an angle of pi by 2, and the respective time diagram and the phasor diagram we have drawn here, in which you have shown that the current lags behind the EMF, or the EMF leads by an angle of pi by 2 than that of the current. You can remember in any one of the way, but better you remember as far as concerned to your convenient, that whether you want to remember in terms of the current or if you want to remember in terms of the EMF. If you want to remember in terms of current, then say that the current lags behind the EMF by an angle of pi by 2. Since you send in the equation of the current, you are getting the negative sign here, so that is lagging behind. And if you want to remember in terms of the EMF, then you can say the EMF leads by an angle of pi by 2 than that of the current. So these are all about the, you can say, the AC voltage applied the inductor. Now we will proceed the very important concept about the inductive reactance. So what exactly is the inductive reactance here? Okay, so next point we will discuss about the inductive reactance. Inductive reactance, which is denoted by X suffix L. Inductive reactance. So in previous derivations, we have compared, or we got the peak value of the current I naught is equal to E naught upon L omega. And also we got in the purely resistive circuit that I naught is equal to E naught upon R. This is your value of peak value of current in inductive circuit, and here the peak value of the current in the purely resistive circuit. So we can conclude from that one, that is L omega has the dimensions of resistance. As the dimensions of, this one is having the dimensions of resistance. So the term L omega is known as inductive reactance. Known as inductive reactance, and it is denoted by X suffix L. What is inductive reactance? देखो बच्चों, जब भी आप कोई नई चीज, नया वर्ड आपके सामने आता है, रेजिस्टेंस, you know, resistance of the resistor, it means that what is the property of the resistance, or you can say resistance is nothing but the opposed to the flow of current. What is resistance? It is opposition, or simply you can say oppose, or oppose to the flow of current. Flow of current. Okay. Similarly, in the case of inductive circuit, that means we have drawn the circuit that like this. Inductor is connected across this EMF E. Then in this case also, this inductor offers or opposes to the flow of current. So here also in this circuit, one sort of resistance is there. Okay, and that is called as inductive reactance. So inductive reactance is the effective opposition offered by the inductor to the flow of current. In the circuit. As you are defined the resistance in the resistive circuit like this one. So in that this resistor of resistance is opposed to the flow of current. Whatever the current is flowing through this one, it will oppose. Similarly, in case of the inductive circuit, in this inductive circuit where you have connected the inductor across this EMF or this voltage, whatever you applied here, so it will also oppose. That means the inductive reactance. This word inductive reactance means one sort of resistance, or okay, which is the effective opposition offered by the inductor to the flow of current. This is also opposing the, you can say, this is also opposing the flow of current. Inductor is also opposing the flow of current, and here resistance is also opposing to the flow of current. But in case of the resistive circuit, purely resistive circuit, we are using the word resistance here, and in case of purely inductive circuit, we are using inductive reactance. So I think students, you might have understood about the meaning of this inductive reactance now. Okay, the SI unit of inductive reactance is same as that of ohm. So SI unit of inductive reactance is ohm. Therefore, now we will derive a very important relation. What is that relation? So the relation is behavior of pure inductor in case of DC, that is direct current and alternating current. Sometimes they are asking the current on this topic also. So this topic is very important, that is behavior of the pure inductor in case of direct current and alternating current. That means how, if you applied the DC across this inductor, okay, and you applied the AC across this inductor, then how this inductor behaves. Now we will see this this property now. So the inductive reactance here, inductive reactance what is the notation you use? That is XL. Okay, X suffix L is equal to L omega, or I can put the value as L into 2 pi nu. I can put the value of omega, that is 2 pi nu. So XL is equal to L into 2 pi nu. Now see, this nu is called as a frequency. This is called as a frequency. Now for DC, there is no frequency, that is F is equal to 0. That means or nu is equal to 0. You can say nu is equal to 0. If nu is equal to 0, that means XL is equal to 0. But what is the importance of this relation? The importance of this relation that the inductive reactance, what is this? Inductive reactance XL. Inductive reactance is 0. That means inductive reactance means one sort of opposition to the flow of current in case of inductive circuit, or the effective opposition offered by the inductor. So as it is 0, that means we can say that inductor offer no opposition, since the inductive reactance is 0. That means it is not opposing. Since the value is 0 means what? There is no oppose. If there is no oppose to the flow of current to the inductor, it means that the DC can be easily passed through this inductor, or DC can flow easily through the inductor. So this is very important conclusion from this. You can say the value XL is equal to 0. So I can write now, since XL is equal to 0, therefore inductor offer no opposition to the flow of DC. Hence we can say that, hence we can conclude that DC can flow, means direct current can flow, since there is no opposition, that inductive reactance is 0. That means there is no question of the opposition. Therefore DC can flow easily through an inductor. बेटा ये जो है बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रिलेशन आया है, See, inductive reactance is given by XL is equal to L omega. I have put the value of omega is equal to 2 pi nu, where nu is the frequency, and for DC there is no frequency, so therefore the value of this frequency is 0. I will put here. So ultimately I got XL inductive reactance is equal to 0. Inductive reactance is equal to 0 means there is no opposition to the flow of current. Since the value is 0 means no opposition, so DC can easily flow through the inductor. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ, इंडक्टर के अक्रॉस अगर आप डीसी लगाते हैं तो वो वहां से इजीली करंट को जाने देगा. नाउ द नेक्स्ट वन for the, you can say for DC, for AC now. So the same relation we will use. What is the relation? That is XL is equal to this relation. Second case now. This is your first case. Second case, as XL is equal to L omega. Okay. So putting the value as omega again, that is L is equal L into 2 pi nu. Then for AC, for alternating current, the frequency nu is equal to some finite value. Some finite value. For example, 50 hertz you can take here. So after putting this value, you will get the value of XL will be some finite, or some value you will get, that is finite value. Finite value means what? Put the value of this inductor, then 2 pi and the frequency, suppose the 50 hertz, then you will get some value here. That means instead of 0, you are getting some finite value. Okay. So if some value is present here, that means there must be a opposition to the flow of current in case of AC. भाई देखो, inductive reactance means what? One sort of opposition to the flow of current in case of the inductor. Okay. So if inductor is there and you are applying here the EMF, then this inductor is having the opposition because it is having some finite value. Some value is there, it means, that means something in terms of some ohm you can say. Okay. So in terms of some ohm, if value is there, that means you can say that as compared to this value of XL is equal to 0. XL is equal to 0 means of what? 0 ohm. That means there is no opposition. Simply the value of this inductive reactance was 0. So in case of this first for DC, now for AC, for alternating current, since the frequency is finite, therefore I got the value of this inductive reactance is nothing but some finite value. That means some value in terms of ohm. So as compared to DC, the opposition to the flow of current in case of AC is there. So as in case of inductor, the DC was easily flowing through the inductor, but in case of AC, the inductor will offer some sort of resistance. That is the difference between the behavior of the inductor in case of AC and DC. Or we can say in case of AC, there is a opposition to the flow of current. In case of DC, there is no opposition to the flow of current in case of inductive circuit. That we got this important relation. So in today's lecture, we have studied about the derivation of alternating EMF or the voltage applied across the inductor, that is purely inductive circuit, and the relation or the behavior of the pure inductor in case of DC and AC. That means when you apply DC and when you apply AC, then we can say here that for DC the current will be easily flow, or you can say it will not block that DC, it will be easily flow, current will be easily flow through the inductor. And in case of the AC, you can say there is a opposition to the flow of current. So this relation we have to, that means you have to remember. So I hope student, this today's topic you might have understood. Please go through this topic and write down all these things in your so that you can go through this topic and try to remember this one. Okay, so I will stop here now, and next one we will proceed for the inductive capacitor. Okay.